So you can get through a solo if you sing the melody, but now you're stuck. If you stop singing the melody, you get lost in the form. But if you do sing the melody, your brain is filled up and you can't play all the cool vocabulary that you've been working on. If this is happening to you, it's time to stop focusing on the melody and to start focusing on phrasing. So in this video, I'm going to teach you a bridge from melody to phrasing so you can stop worrying about the melody and actually be free in your jazz solos. So most of us learned very early that the melody can be a life raft for not getting lost in the form during a jazz solo. But the thing is, it eventually turns into this chain that's kind of holding us down. Because when we think of the melody, it's hard to play anything but the melody. And then we don't get to play all the cool vocabulary that we learned from Philly Joe or Max Roach or Tony Williams while we're soloing, which is like, why did we learn it in the first place? And the reason is it's kind of like trying to sing the ABCs and count to 100 at the same time. It's just that they're so similar and so different that trying to do both at the same time, it's just not really possible for our mental processing speed, okay? And that's when you really need to start to learn how to phrase instead, okay? So what is phrasing? Phrasing is how you put your ideas together in a way that makes sense in music, okay? So musically, if licks are like words, right, then phrasing is the sentence structure. It's the noun and the verb and where's the comma and where's the period and how do you break it up in a way that makes sense, okay? And once you start to learn phrasing, then you have common ways to put together musical sentences. And then that way you can just think about what you're trying to communicate rather than having to hold on to this melody in order to keep from getting lost, okay? So the way that we're going to get from the melody to phrasing is by using something that we call melody mapping. And we're going to be using the tune September in the Rain so that we can build a melody map and learn how to phrase.
The leaves of brown came tumbling down, remember, in September, in the rain.
So the first step to any good melody map is to do what I just did and listen to it. And you want to listen to it until you can sing the melody. It doesn't have to be word for word, it doesn't have to be note for note, but you want to be able to sing the basic melody so that you're hearing this in your head before you actually visualize it, okay? So for me, the leaves of brown came tumbling down, remember that September in the rain. Cool. So I got it in my head, so that means I can trust myself now to look at the lead sheet because I'm thinking music first, okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to notate the phrase length by highlighting it, okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to sing until I hear the end of the phrase, the end of the musical sentence, okay? The leaves of brown came tumbling down, remember, off, right? Now, you notice here a couple things. One is that I didn't highlight this whole long note because a long note in phrasing is kind of space. Remember, right? Nothing's really happening. It's just filling space, okay? So we don't highlight the long notes. We just highlight the attack of the long notes at the end of a phrase, okay? The other thing is at the beginning of the phrase, I didn't highlight the pickup, okay? So a pickup is like a note that comes before beat one that kind of leads into the phrase. And it's kind of like the sprinkles on a cake. It's not where the phrase starts per se. It's just a lead in. It's just a gradual thing. And it doesn't dictate the phrase length in a way that's going to make a lot of sense, okay? So we leave out long notes and we leave out pickups for the sake of melody mapping. So from here I have, the leaves of brown came tumbling down, remember, off, right? So that's a 3-bar phrase. Okay, remember that. We're going to solo over it. Remember. Okay, now the next phrase, that September. Okay, this is tricky because I think of this as a pickup, right? And the reason this is important is because that pickup, if we thought of that as the beginning of the phrase, then we would have this really weird phrasing where it was like a 1-bar phrase starting on beat 3. And that makes it really complex. That makes the structure very awkward, which is the opposite of what we want out of melody mapping, okay? So that's why we leave out the pickup. So I'm going to leave out this pickup, and I'm going to start this phrase on that September. I'm just going to make this a 1-bar phrase. And remember, Again, remember, I can't stop. We're not going to highlight this long note. We're just going to do the attacks, right? Remember that September to in the rain. And it's really the same phrase, another one bar phrase, right? And you can see on my melody map here, I made them both blue because it's kind of the same phrase. One bar phrase with that little pickup, okay? So great. Now I have my melody map of the A section, all right? Now, the next stage, if you were my student at the jazz school, is I would have you solo over this, okay? And everybody does this when I have them solo over it for the first time. They go, okay, solo over the melody map. They go, all right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that is a great melody solo. It's not a melody map solo, right? Because I just played the melody. Maybe I embellished it a little bit. But what we want to do is to get free from the melody so that we can think of other things. So instead, what we're going to do is I'm going to play a 3-bar phrase and then a 1-bar rest. And then I'm going to play a 1-bar phrase and a 1-bar rest and another 1-bar phrase and another 1-bar rest. Okay? That's what melody mapping is. It's where you play the phrasing of the melody, not the melody itself. So it completely different ideas, but with the same phrasing, like this. 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? And you can hear there, I did not play the melody. It was very different from the melody, but it had the same phrasing, right? And I can almost sing my solo ideas inside the phrasing of the melody. Right? I'll do one more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Two, three, four. Boom. That is the melody map of the A section of September in the Rain. Okay? Now, lucky for us, the form of September in the Rain, the next 8 bars, it actually just repeats that same A section. So we have A and then another A. And I'm just going to quickly go ahead and highlight that with all the same melody map because it's exactly the same. And then now let's check out the B section and make a melody map for that.
To every word of love I heard you whisper, the raindrops seem to play a sweet refrain.
Okay, boom. That's the B section of September in the Rain. Again, I need to be able to sing it, not word for word. And then my next step is to melody map it. So I'm going to start with a different color and start here. Again, another 3-bar phrase. Now let's do the next phrase. Again, the long notes. I'm not highlighting, right? I'm just leaving them because there's space. Another 3-bar phrase, right? It's the exact same phrase pretty much, just a little higher. You can even see the shape here is right? Same thing, just a little bit higher. Okay, now I'm gonna go and I'm gonna play a melody map solo over that. So 3-bar phrase, 1-bar rest, 3-bar phrase, 1-bar rest. Boom. That is how you play a melody map solo over the B section of September in the Ring. Now, the next step is we have the A section, we have the B section, we have them all mapped out, and we want to go through the big picture form, which is A, B, A, and see if we can play a melody map solo over the whole thing. But before we do that, if you're watching this and you're like, yeah, great, Jameson, this is a melody map for one tune. I got to learn dozens of tunes to play at a jam. Or, well, how are you putting all those ideas in there? Where'd you learn all those? Or like, my feel is kind of messed up, or my technique is kind of messed up. Yeah, I can't cover all those things, but you do need those things to become a complete jazz musician. So those are all things that I work on with my students at the jazz school. If you're interested in becoming a one-on-one student and working with me directly, click the link in the description to apply. Okay, I went ahead and scratched out the rest of the A section melody map. You can see the overall form is A-A-B-A. I'm going to play a melody map solo over September in the Rain, where I follow it exactly. I rest when there's rest. I play when there's phrases. So I'll put it up on the screen here. You can follow along and see if you can track the form with me. Here we go. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there you go. If you use melody mapping, you'll develop the phrasing that you need to play free solos without thinking of the melody and without getting lost. But then you're going to need to develop your touch, your dynamics, your comping skills, your vocabulary. So click here to watch my video on how to become a complete jazz musician.